Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go ahead and do a April update as I haven't actually really made a video in the last month or so. As you can see, quite a few things have changed. I do have a bit more coral, or at least it kind of looks like I have a bit more coral. And we have a couple new fish as well. I have not wanted to really post any fish recently just because I feel like every time I post it they don't make it. So it's been a little bit. I've had some of these fish for a little bit now and they're doing pretty good. I've gotten some new coral as well that have also done pretty good, so I do think it's gonna be okay if I go ahead and post it now. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I just feel like whenever I post a video of a new fish I got, the little guys just don't seem to make it. But this batch kind of did well, and there's a few reasons I do feel like they did well, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So right off the bat, we can go ahead and start with my SPS, which as usual have been doing pretty darn well. We have a pretty considerable amount of growth all the way across the spectrum. Doesn't really matter which coral it is. The color itself has done pretty darn good. The growth itself has done pretty darn good. You can even see my green slimer here is starting to grow out of the water. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of leave it alone because it's kind of something cool, and it is something I believe happens in nature when you have, for example, like corals like these in low tide. So it growing out of the water is something unique. I kind of want to keep going. I have picked up some new colonies, for example, some frags here from my local fish store that are a real nice color. We have some maricultured colonies. This one is really nice. I do hope it colors up a bit more because it's a nice kind of a yellowish color. Then we have, for example, my other colonies that have grown at least, a good 1/4 inch in the last month or so. So overall, the colonies themselves have grown quite well, and I have had to, go ahead and trim here and there just to make sure they don't start growing into each other. As you can see, a lot of these colonies, they're starting to get pretty close and starting to touch a little bit. So we do need to thin them out and, if possible, kind of spread them out just so, they don't start killing each other. Now, one really cool one is this Anacropora right here. Behind it, you can actually see like a little bird's nest growing through it, and I think that's pretty cool. It's not really killing each other, they're kind of growing in harmony. So it'd be really cool to see this bird's nest grow out and kind of entangle with this Anacropora and see kind of that symbiosis type of thing where they don't really kill each other, but just kind of grow intertwined, kind of like a shoelace. We do have some other corals like this tenuous. This isn't new, but this was broken off of a colonies that started growing into other colonies, so we went ahead and removed it and just put it somewhere in the tank. I did recently pick up this guy right here. It's a little hard to tell. I believe it's kind of like a branching parietes. The fish store I got it from says that it is from Fiji. But I'm honestly not sure. I've never seen a coral like this, and hopefully it does well. There is a little bit of death and maybe like a little bit of bleaching that I see coming from it, but it's fairly slow. So obviously something like this is going to be a wild coral and not something that's like a mariculture. So I do kind of have to see, what I have to do parameter-wise to maybe, get it to live better. Maybe a bit more flow or a bit more light, or just more light where it's kind of shaded, but we'll go ahead and see if we can get this guy to heal up and start growing. As far as my other corals, they're doing pretty good. We have this kind of Japanese long-toed, weeping willow, whatever kind of guy right here. He's doing pretty good, nice and flowy. We do have a couple Ghanies that are doing pretty well, some Zoas right here. We do have this colony of Rastas right here that is getting attacked to death by this Bernard Pora. So it hasn't been doing all that well. Usually this guy's a little bit more open, but it's a little bit late in the evening, so it's time to kind of go night-night. My other torches have been doing pretty good, especially this Holy Grail. It's up to like 8 or 9 heads now, I believe. And like I said, it is a little late, so usually there's a bit more flowy during, the peak days. I did go ahead and take all of my frog spawns and hammers and everything and put them into kind of a garden right here, just because I haven't really been able to figure out a good place to place them all. And for now, it looks kind of okay. They're not fighting or anything, and there's a good variety. So we may keep them here for a little bit while we go ahead and, start rearranging the tank to see where everything goes. Now you will notice right here there is a pretty decent little gap right here, and that's because this Goniopora right here, you can see on the right side, has his little murder tentacles out, and he has been stinging the crap out of the hammers previously, so I went ahead and moved all the hammers a bit more to the right just to give them space. We do have some little mushrooms here which are looking super cute, and also this nice bright orange Goni I'm really hoping to grow out into something really nice, because that color is just fantastic. Now we do have also this Weeping Willow type of toadstool, which is getting nice and fat as well, so that's always good. And then we do have a brand new pickup, which is this giant Kojiwada. This was picked up at my local fish store using some credit that I had. One of our local reefers happened to drop this off there, and I had to pick it up just because I don't have a great amount of success growing soft corals into large colonies. This is another Kojiwada I had bought previously. The growth is decent, but I'm kind of sick of waiting, so it's nice to be able just to get an entire colony and not have to wait for it to grow to an impressive size. The other torches here are doing pretty good. Just today, this little torch right here got knocked off by a snail, so I'll go ahead and have to re-glue that. And then last but not least, as far as coral, as you can see, I have 2 colonies of the Space Invader Pectinia. So if you remembered, it was just one large giant colony, but because of the growth in my tank, I was starting to get a little bit of STN right here in the back. I think it's from the lack of light in this back area, because it started to shade itself out. So this little stalk that was growing out of here, I cut the whole thing off, glued it onto its own plate, which is this big piece right here, and hopefully but slowly the skin will go ahead and refill all these dead zones, and this itself will be a nice bright colony. And because it doesn't have a big stalk on top of it, it won't get shaded out again. So this piece we're just going to go ahead and leave in the back right now. We're not going to touch it or anything. Let it do its own thing, and give it a couple months. We'll have a completely full and brand new Pectinia. But that is pretty much it for my coral. There has been a considerable amount of growth. I'm pretty happy with it. A lot of people who come over, can visually tell. Some people come over like once or twice a month. So a lot of people come over and they're like, wow, I can really see the difference. And that always makes me pretty darn happy. Because I do see this tank every day, I can't really always feel or visually see the growth, for example, in my SPS, but a lot of other people can, because they don't see it, every single day. So yeah, other than that, the coral itself has been doing super well. I hope to get a couple more pieces once I'm able to get additional lighting. That'll be in an episode coming soon. Lights have already been placed. The order for lights have already been placed. I just need to wait for them to come in. But hopefully what that solves is a lot of shading I have, for example, right here, or shading in the corner, and that's going to allow me to go ahead and add more corals once that, that shading is resolved. Now, like I said previously, I don't always have the best luck with fish. Every time I bring one and I make a video about it, I feel like they always pass away, and I don't know why. So I have basically not told anybody I've gotten new fish in a while, and hopefully, this holds, because it's been about a month and the new guys on the block have been all doing pretty well. So I do feel like, it should be okay to talk about them, and hopefully they don't just all die tomorrow. So first off the bat, let's go ahead with the tangs. We do have this guy right here, which is I think it's called a powder brown. This was from a tank breakdown that was given to the local fish store. And I bought this pretty much immediately once I heard it was in somebody else's tank for a while, just because generally, fish mortality is actually pretty high in this hobby. But if a fish has been in somebody else's tank, it's lived there for a while, they're generally going to be fairly healthy and they're going to thrive in kind of the aquarium setting. So once I heard that this guy was available, I went ahead and got him. He's kind of waiting for food. That's why he's swimming left and right. I kind of alternate between days which side of the tank I feed on. So that's what he's waiting for. But yeah, he's going to be hopefully doing super well. And another one I did get from the local fish store, if I can find him, is going to be this chocolate tang you see right there. He's a little bit camera shy, but once the cameras go away, he is actually a pretty active fish and, pretty fun. His colors are super nice. It's nice to have a bit of that yellowish color. Hopefully it gets a little stronger once he gets a little older and maybe a little bigger. It's a little hard to talk about him since we can't really see him and he's hiding in the back, but that's okay. But same thing, he's been in here a little bit longer than the powder brown, and he's been doing super well. Now, the next fish, which is going to be super fun, is actually this little saltwater molly right here. So this guy came from the same tank as this guy right here. They were both brought into the local fish store, and for the amount of money, which was only about $10, I was like, hell yeah. Number one, this guy is a tank. He is about 3 inches long, and he is almost as big as some of my saltwater fish. So, he's gonna be fine. And what's really cool is he kind of has a little bit of a koi pattern, which is why I really like him. You don't really find too many saltwater fish that have a pattern kind of like that, so that makes him also unique on top of being obviously like a freshwater fish in this hobby. He is a little bit slower than the rest, probably because he has a little bit of a gut, but that's okay. He's been doing super well as well. He eats flake, he eats frozen, he eats anything. So, he's acclimated to the saltwater environment perfectly. Now, the last addition to my tank recently is one that's a little bit controversial, and it's going to be this orange spotted filefish. And this guy is awesome. Number one, he looks just absolutely amazing. Bright blue with orange spots, and then that unique look of a filefish. He is just absolutely awesome. Now, if you've never kept one before, what they do, which makes them, kind of an oddball, is they do eat the slime off of SPS. So what you'll see is this guy just, every day he'll just be walking around foraging and he'll be pecking at sticks. Now, he doesn't actually eat the tentacles, which is what a lot of people say. I've realized that he doesn't eat the tentacles. What he eats is actually like the slime or something, around the polyps. But what that does is it annoys all the coral in the tank to the point where they don't have any polyp extension. So, for example, my ASD rainbow here, no polyp extension. I have a nice Walt Disney in the back, no polyp extension. No coral in my tank currently has polyp extension. And though that kind of sucks, a lot of people say polyp extension is a good indicator of coral health. I think he's worth it, to be honest. He's just so damn cute. And, there may not be polyp extension right now, but when he goes to sleep and it's nighttime, all the polyps on my SPS just kind of open up and start feeding in the water column. So it's not that the polyps themselves are gone. They're just, in hiding. I mean, I honestly wouldn't, stick it out there either if this little guy was pecking at me all day. But, so far this guy has been super good. Recently, actually, in the last couple weeks, he's actually begun to start feeding on flake and actively feeding on flake, not just like peck here, peck there. Like he's actually waiting for it, which is super cool. So I am hoping that we may be able to transition him straight to Flake. And then at some point, once I set up another tank, maybe he can live off of just Flake, and I can actually keep him in a tank that has no SPS in it. That's kind of the goal at this point. I do want to keep him, but also I kind of wouldn't mind some polyp extension, you know? So that's the kind of the hope there, is to get him into a tank that has no SPS. He'll be able to live off of directly just Flake. He'll be able to thrive in just like a regular average fish tank, reef tank. Now, the final change to my tank is actually in the sump right here. As you can see, it is completely dark, and that is because I have completely removed the frag system that was in here, and I moved it back to this tank right here. The reason being is that I was getting a little bit of salt creep from a skimmer kind of, you know, blowing itself up. So I went ahead and just put him back, you know, into this tank. For now, it'll be fine just because I don't exactly have a lot of coral frags. And this way I won't have to worry about any kind of like a salt splash. So we went ahead and put the skimmer and the calc reactor back into this side. For now, it'll stay here. Actually, I think permanently it'll stay here. I'd rather keep it here where it won't damage anything than keep it here where it's next to a bunch of electronics. Yes, I know I need to wipe down the salt creep. I will get to it. I just haven't yet because I'm still trying to figure out some wiring of some things. But yeah, everything in here is doing super well. You can see just all the zoas right there on the bottom. We have a Colorado Sunburst just chilling here. We do have some new additions like the hologram hammer dead center right there. That's one of my dream coral that's been looking super cool. So hopefully that does well. And yeah, just a bunch of frags everywhere, really. But yeah, that is pretty much an update for today. Lots of good growth coming up. A lot of rearranging of frags and coral just everywhere. A lot of these aren't even final placement just because, I don't know about you, it looks pretty darn unorganized. And I kind of like it organized and, you know, kind of a more natural look. I just kind of haven't figured it out yet, but that's okay. But yeah, thank you guys as always for watching. We have some fun stuff coming in the next few episodes. You can actually see one of them right here. I got a reef mat that'll be in the next episode. But thank you guys as always for watching. I do appreciate your support. We do have some fun toys coming. I did spend an absurd amount of money. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.